Blood and Black Lace is a 1964 Italian giallo horror movie by Mario Bava, who many consider the grandfather of giallo horror. The film follows a faceless murderer killing models in Italy's high fashion industry. Hey guys, welcome back to Garage Slasher-thon, where every day for the month of October we revisit a slasher movie. Blood and Black Lace is the movie today. It's a giallo horror movie, which every person on YouTube, when they say giallo, they feel the need to explain what giallo is. But we know what giallo kind of looks like. Those beautiful, vivid colors. We think of movies like Suspiria and Inferno. And there was like a resurgence of interest in giallo horror movies lately. There was Last Night in Soho that came out a few years ago. And that same year we had Malignant, which kind of felt like giallo horror. But here it is, the granddaddy of all of them, Blood and Black Lace. According to some, a lot of people think Mario Bava is the one who created this genre, which he is, but they'll argue as to which movie is the true, definitive first giallo horror movie. For those of you who don't know giallo, allow me to spoon feed you some of my knowledge. Giallo is actually Italian for yellow. So, yeah. Why yellow? Because a lot of comic books in that era had like this very generic looking yellow cover, which even the poster of the film has that yellow poster. So he was clearly going for something that was very comic booky with this. That's why it kind of has that distinct look to it, those vivid colors and everything. A lot of people attribute the vivid colors to the era in which it came out. It was a very psychedelic era, and they're trying to kind of create that psychedelic feeling. So that's why the colors are very vivid in this. A lot of themes in the movie are reflective of those pulpy comic books. A lot of sexploitation, a lot of violence, a lot of gore. This is a very violent movie for the time. And this is post-fascist Italy, so there is a lot of distrust in authority figures, and it usually follows a man who witnesses a murder and tries to take matters into his own hands, kind of as a way to saying that authorities aren't really that helpful in this scenario. I really love the opening of this movie. The opening of this movie is what especially feels very comic booky. You're kind of just getting introduced to every character and they're kind of posing. It's really the vivid colors are very predominant in that opening sequence. I feel like as the movie progressed, you kind of become less and less colorful and more realistic, which may have been the intention of the filmmaker. But it kind of made me lose interest halfway through the movie because that really cool aesthetic gradually started disappearing. There is an influence from people like Hitchcock and Agatha Christie. A lot of people make fun of the way I say Agatha Christie. I don't even know how to say it. Agatha Christie? I've always said Agatha. Anyway, also this kind of Clue-like feeling, which I kind of like. It's kind of blurring the line between what is a slasher movie and what is a film noir. To me, this is more of a slasher movie because you do have that iconic slasher, but there is kind of like a reveal at the end that's kind of like a whodunit murder mystery. So it's kind of like blurring the line. The aesthetic of the slasher is really interesting. Kind of brings back that noir look, that long trench coat, the fedora, but this time he has no face. He's wearing like a spandex face, which I think is a very interesting look, and it kind of reminded me of Darkman. I wouldn't be surprised if Sam Raimi kind of drew from this when he was doing Darkman. And speaking of influences, there's this scene where one of the murders takes place in a bathtub, and it's kind of campy because when he drowns the woman in the bathtub, he tries to make it look like a suicide, so he slits her wrists, but her wrists are already slit, and he kind of just like pretends to go over it, which kind of looks goofy. But it's an iconic scene, and even filmmakers like Scorsese refer to that when they do films. I saw an interview with Tarantino. Tarantino was heavily influenced by Mario Bava. He said in his childhood, Mario Bava was like the first filmmaker where he knew him by the name, where he was like, I'm going to watch more Mario Bava movies. Which is interesting because me growing up, Tarantino was kind of that first one because he does have such a predominant style. And I can see why Mario Bava influenced so many people because he has such a unique style and a unique voice that it's so easy to gravitate towards his film. It's really his trademark stamp on his movies. I love the sexual themes. This movie deals with a lot of themes that are kind of taboo for the era, dealing with stuff like abortion and infidelity and a lot of graphic sex. Some guy going around killing women. He kind of kills the women in a sexual way, but it's not because he gets his rocks off from that. It's because he wants it to make it look like it's a crazy person who just has this weird fetish, while in fact it's actually just him covering up for the true motive, which is that there's this diary involved. That's kind of something I don't like about the movie. Here's my overall thoughts on the movie. It's a movie I respect. I like visually, but I don't really like, and I don't ever see myself watching this movie again just because it's so convoluted. You have so many characters, and I feel like the movie kind of fails to juggle them correctly. Everyone kind of feels the same. There's nothing that really makes one character stand out over another, and because of that, you kind of lose track of the plot, and it kind of becomes meandering. The kills are very fun to watch, though. One kill in specific where a girl is getting burnt on a furnace, and her face melts on the furnace. That was pretty gruesome. The multitude of characters could be attributed to the fact that they're trying to be like a comic book and have all of these characters. But in comic books, when you do have like an ensemble of a lot of characters, they usually have very distinct personalities to help you follow along. Just think of Jughead in the Archie comics. But yeah, I feel like this movie kind of lacked that. I wish the movie had a better story because the style of it is so good. But as it is now, I respect it a lot for what it's done. But yeah, it's a product of its time. It could have been a better movie, and there's better giallo out there. One in particular that's a slasher movie, but I won't be reviewing on this marathon because I can only do 31 at the end of the day. But Opera is one I always go to by Dario Argento. That's a great slasher movie. Another one that I'm not going to be reviewing on this marathon, and I forget the name of it. Let me look it up. Stage Fright, that's what I'm thinking of. That's another slasher movie I won't be reviewing on this marathon, unfortunately, because there's only 31 I can do, and I'm trying to get the classics in, some lesser known movies, but those are two kind of giallo feeling slasher movies that I think are better than this. That's just my opinion anyway. Guys, have you seen Blood and Black Lace? Did you like it? Comment below, what's your favorite giallo movie? Mine is Suspiria, but it's not a slasher movie. Alright, see ya folks.